Hello everyone. For this video I'd like to explain my thought process for the design of the 8th level of Secret of the Blank Dungeon, which is a tribute to the 14th level specifically of Journey to Hold, and not 14th and 13th. This is because the themes of the 13th and 14th level do not mix well with each other, unlike the combinations I did in the previous levels. You may remember the 14th level of Journey to Hold just basically being a rehash of rooms from King Dugan's Dungeon and Journey to Hold from before that level, so that's the thought process I carried over here, where I used Blank Dungeon instead of King Dugan's Dungeon, as that is a counterpart to King Dugan's Dungeon in terms of the series I created. This particular room references a room in the 6th level of the Blank Dungeon, where you clear trapdoors while fending yourself from tar horns, but here you defend yourself from mud instead. Although it's basically the same thing because of how the mud monsters behave in the same way as the tar monsters. The only real difference is when you actually destroy the source after you drop off the trapdoors, as the source is more difficult to reach the top. I also made someone similar to the person taunting you in the 7th level, who cherishes in making mud instead of tar. This room copies another room from the 6th level of the Blank Dungeon, namely one of the rooms on the ends.
Oh, hey, there you are.
Although that room used tar, while this one uses mud. So this room is just really basic mud clearing, while you avoid the hordes that builds up. This room is yet another room from the 6th level of the Blank Dungeon, this time dealing with trapdoors while dealing with tar, but in this room of course you deal with mud as always.
Hey,
And here, although there is no black door, you have to actively clear the mud, because otherwise there is no way to reach the trapdoors. This room is yet another one from 6th level of the Blank Dungeon with mud instead of tar, where here you deal with roadways in addition. Note it would be smart in this room to use mud as coverage because of how large the hordes are compared to others. In this particular room, you have to use the mud very much to your advantage.
what's going on?
Because if you do not, you get overrun easily by all the amount of mud monsters coming out. Note as well, if you are in the wrong spot, when the cycle reaches 30, a mud monster will spawn next to you in a way that is impossible to reach and will kill you, so you have to pay attention to where you actually are when the clock gets started. It is also smarter to clear out all the mud in one section before moving on to the next one, to prevent it from growing back and spawning more mud monsters. The east wing of the level is a tribute to rooms found in Secret of the Blank Dungeon instead of the Blank Dungeon, so you should be familiar with what these rooms actually are.
Here I am again.
In particular, this one is directly borrowed from the previous level, just with mud instead of tar, so you use the same strategy. This room should also look familiar from the 7th level. So
What did I
again,
miss?
you use this in front of you. The only thing that is different about it is because we have mud instead of tar. The sources in the north make it very difficult to reach. This room you should notice from the 6th level instead of the 7th level.
Here I am again.
In this one, you use one mimic rather than the two you saw in that room. And you have to be strategic about using the mud in a way that helps you navigate the room before you just clear it out in a wanton manner. This room is exactly the same as its counterpart in the 7th level, the only difference of course being This room is similar to a room you saw in the 7th level, although there are two differences, one being the obvious wood instead of tar, but the other being that the room is a different orientation than the one originally saw. So that might make it a little unsure, but it shouldn't be that huge. Note it would be advisable in this room as well to clear out all the mud in one section before moving to the other, to prevent an excessive amount of mud monsters from bothering As you could probably predict from the theme, the exit room of the 8th level mimics almost exactly the exit room of the 7th level. Where you have to outrun and then kill a character for story purposes. Where you learn that this character also works with the Slayer. Now that I've given you a commentary on the thought process behind the 8th level of Secret of the Blank Dungeon, I'd like to give you a commentary on the thought process behind the 9th level in my next video.